They were trained. They were trained and they were exposed to what is good cinema across the world, what is the emerging language of films, all of it. That makes a lot of difference. So your training and your initiation, it is not just storytelling. It is a visual medium. And as Adur says that the first time natural sounds were used in Malayalam films with Swayamvaram. It was almost like what they call sing sound of today. Even today, in Quran or whatever, they don't have that formula thing. They were attempting something, but they don't have a formula, definite formula. Each one is trying on their own. Even the worst commercial film, so-called, like Minal Murali, people were getting excited. I said, what is it? I have seen Superman many times. Many versions have come. It's become a franchise. But then he was trying to experiment for the Malayalis. There was nothing like that earlier. So he experimented. So that is the spirit which I think all this thing. That is why I call it magical. And nobody was particularly behind it. I do to say that we just don't know how it happened. We didn't have the money. We had only the intentions to do things. And it so happened that they were at the right time and the right place.
We have very senior journalist and strategic communication professional and author VK Cherian sir with us. He has written a book lately, like Noon Films and the Magical Renaissance of Malayalam Films, which is quite insightful. So I recommend everyone to read that book. We'll talk about the book.
It's on Amazon and also Flipkart. And Atlantic, the publishers, they have a website. You can buy anywhere you want.
We'll talk further about the book and the periods through which Malayalam cinema had reached to this stage. Quickly, we'll talk about that. So, welcome, Charan sir.
Thank you.
Because people will be interested to know like how you were associated with Adu sir and Chitralekha Film Society, because that film society itself has enlightened Malayali audience. And if everyone says that Malayalam films are ahead of time, or they are much progressive, the reason is that, as in because of this film society movement, and that's what I believe. So I think we can start from there.
Sure. Thanks for your inviting me for this. See, I grew up in 70s in school and college. So early 70s, it was, all of us are part of a library movement where whichever part of Kerala it was. So the only outlet for young people to get to know the world was not through films or television. There was no television then. It was the books. So, and library movement had touched all the villages in Kerala, across Kerala, thanks to P.N. Panikkar and a group of freedom fighters. They thought reading habit is a must for people to grow personally and socially. So I was part of that, and then in Trivandrum, I was in Maravenes College doing my degree. That's the time when awards were happening. Adur Gopalakrishnan got award in 72. I was in Trivandrum. One of the reasons I shifted from Mavelikara to Trivandrum was this happening things around Trivandrum. And Chitralekha was one. Chitralekha was a film society. And in 76, when I moved to Trivandrum, it was like one of the to-do list was Chitralekha, be a member of Chitralekha. Then I was told that Chitralekha, it's almost like an elite club where all the writers and filmmakers and wannabe filmmakers are there. So you better join the ISRO's Chalachitra and then, graduate. And that's what I did. And, seeing Adur was a celebrity already by then, he made one film, but he was a celebrity. And we keep hearing that Chitralekha has a studio outside coming up outside of Trivandrum in Akkulam. Now it's inside. So all these things are happening. And I remember seeing a package. That's the time when Bergman package of National Film Archive began to be circulated by PK Nair. I saw the three films of Bergman: Seven Seal, Silence, and Wild Strawberries. I remember I had a terrific headache after seeing that because I could never believe that films could take you to a different level, like Wild Strawberries. Or I can still remember the scenes of Wild Strawberries, the old man seeing his young life, you know, sitting there in the frame, or the death as a character in Silence. So all these things, and I think the first time I'm seeing nudity in the other film, the third film, I was shocked. As a teenager, I was shocked by the philosophical content, the visual approach, and I could never believe that films could play that kind of role in anybody's visual or creative world. So so that made me go deep into the films, and yeah, I must owe it to Bergman to shake me up to this reality that films can be a creative medium. Sorry, you can say that I've been inspired by the foreigner, but in creative world there is no foreigners. Everybody is the same. So, so that is one of the reasons I joined Chitralekha soon, because see, the same people of Chitralekha were also coming to Chalachitra, though it was pushed by a sort of people. Because any good film means all of this, as they say, over 500, 600 people those days in Toronto, they were a regular feature everywhere. So for me to get into Chitralekha was like easy. I become friendly with my artist friends, Ashokan Pudwal, Alex Rimson, all of them, Krishna Kumar, all of them are studying in fine arts. And they were also part of the Chalachitra. And the whole gang moved to Chitralekha. And Chitralekha, Ashokan Pudwal's brother, CP Krishna Kumar, was one of the organizing secretaries. So it became easy for us. And then we were doing a second year in Marivanas. We were doing a theater group with Vaira Vasudevan Pillai, who later became professor in the School of Drama. So we were planning a theater production, and somebody suggested to Vaira to invite Adur. So I went to Krishna Kumar and said, "Will you help us to get Adur to the college?" He said, "Of course, I will talk." So Adur was, busy with Chitralekha Film Cooperative and all. He said, no, this film, Krishna Kumar, you are more into theater, you go there kind of thing. So that's my first tete with Adur. Because, we are not talking directly. We can see that Krishna Kumar in Tagore Theatre foyer. That's what I keep saying, that, Tagore Theatre, when people make so much of halla hulla during IFK, I said, we have been taking these steps, we'll stand at the top, and from Nikunjam, Aravindan, Narendra Prasad, Murali, Padmarajan, all of them will walk. They are all having tea or drinks there till the film starts. They'll walk the steps up. That steps in the middle was also open. So we can see them walking. I said, Aravindan is there today. So all of them will come, because Aravindan also knows that this young gang is part of this, part of this milieu. So they will have a look and they won't speak or anything. They're big people. We will also have a smile and we will all go inside. So that was the ambient. And let me tell you, it was like an excitement. I still remember Misoguchi film coming to Tagore Theatre. So excitement. And anything of that sort, Adur will definitely be there with his family, with his wife and Ashwati, who is a IPS officer now. Three of them will come. And if Adur comes, we know, it's a great film for sure. Otherwise, he won't spend his time. He should have seen it. He want to see it again, or he want to see another from it, after so many years. So that was the kind of atmosphere we grew up. So indeed, Chitralekha, later I came to know that Chitralekha introduced people. People keep saying that film society, it is easy to get film. Those days, no. To get good film, your only source was FFSI, which is like I'm told it is a bureaucratic organization, and and then the second was National Film Archive. Then Adur grew up in Pune, and Adur and Nair was good friends. So, and Nair was a Trivandrum person. So for Trivandrum, for Chitralekha and Chalachitra to get films from archive was easy. They just have to write a letter to archive. Or archive, Nair will inform Chitralekha that, look, the so-and-so package has come. So please come. You want to show it? I'll send you. So that is, and there is no money exchange. It is just that archive will send it with their cost, and you have to return it. That's the only exchange. So economically, it is viable for film societies to show films. Now, if you ask any film in archive, they'll charge you from 10,000 to 20,000 to whatever you think. So that was the ambience where I grew up. So it was then this whole gang of M.F. Thomas, Vijay Krishnan, Krishna Kumar, all of them were, we were interacting, you know, and it was like I'll say, informal education into aesthetics of films. Education, and Thomas was already writing about films, and we were apprentices. We wanted to write, but not, sure. So we were still seeing films. So that is how I ended up writing in film magazine and Kala Comedy when I came to Delhi, because Jayachandran Nair, who was editor, who was also there. He'll come occasionally for the film. So yeah, see, so we didn't need to introduce ourselves that we know film, that they saw us, with them. This was the young gang around them. So like they were just okay, fine. This fellow knows what he's writing about, what he's talking about. So let's publish. So that is the thing. That is my entry into film writing and the films. And Chitralekha, of course. Chalachitra was like showing films and okay, but Chitralekha was a different altogether. It was like complete thing. Recently a discussion, one of the American professors in the discussion asked, "You mean to say Chitralekha was like Kahodu cinema of Paris?" I said, "Arul must be very happy hearing it." Because yes, because people forget the fact that there was such an experiment happen in Kerala. And Chitralekha Film Cooperative had a studio which is still there, but it's a mess of Air Force Southern Air Command. That's a different thing. So there was an experiment which was for the first time in the universe that such an experiment was successful and ran for 15 years. Of course, the egos clashes and the rest. And nobody can believe when I say that Kudiyatam, the film made of 1 lakh rupees with a bald-headed hero, made about 10 lakhs those days. It ran in Kottayam, one of the theaters, for 145 days. Survey became the fan of Adur after seeing the film. And there only, there was a German uh, television channel fellow there. He bought the film for 4 lakhs. So, so they were actually changing the taste of the Malayalis. So my book is about that. How did they go about it? What was it? How did it happen? Who are the people? And how did others got in? Yeah, and nobody can believe why film awards are celebrated in Kerala. It has become a tradition. 72, nobody could, people keep saying that I heard somebody said that Madhavan Gutti got him award for Swayamvaram, Madhavan Gutti, Madhavuni. So I worked with Madhavan Gutti as an occasional writer 3 years in the 80s. I know that Madhavan Gutti didn't know Adur much in 70s. After the awards, they all come. In Delhi, the Matrimony office in the center place, so they'll come, sit there, have tea. Adur used to type his invites for media in his typewriter, take it to Hindustan Times, Times of India, and invite them personally. That was happening. But it was all in the time. That is the time when Mrs. Gandhi was encouraging new wave films. Film Finance Corporation was giving money for FTI graduates to make new kind of films. I.K. Gujral, who was FFSI's treasurer, was the INB minister. So the atmosphere was, they were at the right time at the right place, waiting to be discovered. And that discovery, luckily for Adur, happened in 72. Otherwise, I think the whole experiment should have fallen through. That discovery happened in all India, and excitement followed. And I'm sure that you know that Swayamvaram in 72, when it was released, within a week it was a box office failure. But after the award, it was re-released. It's run for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Swayamvaram also got the money back. So Chitralega's productions were never at loss. It was not a new film. It was a 3 show film. That's why Adur insisted that my films can be a regular show. So I won't allow it any new films on my films. He insisted. While General Pictures Ravi was releasing Aravindan's films as new films, Adur's films, he insisted, and it was done that. And recently I met Ravi's son Pratap. He said, yes, we got the money back over a period of time. Not big profit, but recently, an American channel is taking 3 of our films, and I was told that I'll get 5 lakhs each. So it is like a gold investment for him. He keeps getting money. After 50 years, he's getting money, 50 or 40 years, another 5 lakhs. I don't think for Elipathayan they spent 5 lakhs those days. Today, he's getting 5 lakhs again on it. So that's a kind of taste of, one of the reasons why Malayalam films are different, because of that people are used to the different kind of films. So you want to attract them, you need to be different. Maybe the worst way, but not the old formula way. So my book is about the story, how Malayalam film reached there, and who are the people behind it. Who are the people who forced you to debate this pros and cons of it.
Recently, we lost Shaji and Karun, and in his JC Daniel Award receiving speech, he was talking about. He was referring to like film is is part of history, like because you have been referring to new wave, how the government recommended FTI to create. So could you please hint about the periods, the stages of, like you are referring to the Renaissance era, the new wave, whatever happened in Malayalam film industry or in the Indian film scenario?
Yeah. So my tribute to Shaji for saying that, because Shaji is the first one, along with Mangada Ravivarma, were really cinematographers. They were not cameramen. They were also creative people. So if you see Kanjanasira's first shot, you'll know what it is. It's an extreme close-up of the Godavari plains, and then zoom out on the Mridangam beat. Now, I wrote a tribute for him in one of the online papers. It was also an announcement that color films, when you see a color film like that, it's also, you are seeing a different visual culture, visual vocabulary also. And that came from training in FTI, seeing world classics. So is Mangada Ravivarma. Before that, that's what people keep saying, that P.N. Menon started it. P.N. Menon started it, yes. He had all the ideas about it. But he didn't have the definite grammar which Adur or later people had. Because they were trained. They were trained and they were exposed to what is good cinema across the world, what is the emerging language of films, all of it. That makes a lot of difference. So your training and your initiation, it is not just storytelling. It is a visual medium. And as Adur says that the first time natural sounds were used in Malayalam films with Swayamvaram. It was almost like what they call sing sound of today. And he used a small Niagara recorder for that. And I don't know whether, I don't remember Polam Tiro with such kind of natural sound. So, so in a way, it's creating the time or that period. If you see Kodiyatam, I keep saying that if anybody wants to doing research on, the social and personal habits of Malayalis, especially of Onattukara in Travancore, you just have to see Kodiyatam. Because each and every, gesture of the lead character, others, the way they speak, the way they emote, all of it is, all of it, because I grew up there, I know, I can vouch for it. All of it. I have seen so many characters like that. There was one guy in our area, like Gopi, that character. So Adugur just take them and put them in a storyline or narrative. And that was not there earlier. Why people, Kodiyatam is a classic example. The distributors rejected it. Theaters were not willing to touch, only two of them, one in Haripad, one in Kottayam. But then in the weekend, word spread. That time, there's no social media or big media buildup. Word spread that here is a film which is totally different. It's like, one of you got into the screen and acting out everything. So Chitralekha got calls. Send us the film, send us the film. And that ran for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for 145 days. So I will say that people were willing to see different films. They were looking for different films. They know something was happening. Like Kodiyatam happened after Swayamvaram, Nirmalyam, and Uttarayan. So these three award-winning or totally different films, people are used to such kind of films. There's build-up around it. I still remember as a schoolboy hearing Nirmalyam's Shabdarekha. The AAR used to show that. There's no film, but you can hear the music and so all of it happened. It was like we're surrounded by this changing, visual culture. It was film culture.
Yeah, in fact, I was fortunate to watch Nirmalyam in FTI. They screened, so even the romantic scenes were quite fresh. Looking at not just that, many of the scenes, and it was still provoking to think what is happening in the society. We have lots to talk, like the social influence, like what you have mentioned in the first in your book, the social influence, social orientation of films, and many more. But I think we'll connect through a few episodes because it is a little long to talk about.
See, Malayalam, people began to look at serious films or visual language. It can be different. Of course, Vigada Kumaran was a social story, while all other languages went for mythological stories. They're easy to connect, to people. But in Vigada Kumaran, he thought that if this story is fine, so that even Balan is not a mythological thing. So that orientation was there. One of the reasons could be this, Kerala, there's a lot of social movements, I think when Vigata Kumaran was being made, the first Malayalam film, there was a Srinarayana Guru movement happening, so social issues were there in the society. So, filmmakers and artists thought this will run here. You don't need to go back to the mythology. So that then the 40s, the communist parties, the Congress Socialist Party and Communist parties took over, and a lot of literature and Communist Party like Kapil Basi and all of them got into films. So the social orientation got aggravated, I would say, and so and with Takashi's Jamin 62 award, it was like okay, this is the way good films are. So people thought, you make a good novel into a film, fine, it's a good film. In fact, Vijay Krishnan told me that, I quoted him, that the norm was you ask the novelist to write the script. You tell him that, okay, fine, you written it in prose, now make it into, each chapter, put it with with dialogues, and the director shoots it. So that was happening. The whole thing changed when PN Menon, because he was an artist, he began to look at it in a different way. Okay, fine, let me take it out to the ground and shoot there. So he had this thing of experimenting. So he started it. But then he was not a trained filmmaker. He was this, an artist, this thing. But that is the time when 65, Adur and company came out of Film Institute, and they knew what it was. They knew the structure. They knew the emerging visual language. They knew the debates in that space. They don't need to be told that this is the way it has to be done. And because in institute training is very, very distinct. Adur was telling me that he even bought a typewriter in the film institute with the money, PF money of his earlier job, because the professor insisted on typing it. He says, I didn't know typing. No, I didn't have a typewriter, so I have to go to somebody, and he will type everything, bad. So I have to sit with him again and retype it. So I thought it's better that I buy a typewriter and type it myself. So all these things, so when you go through this regime, for simple reason, why is film institute fellows films are different? Because 3 years they go through a regime of discipline and experiments and also exercises. So they get into a regime, and that regime reflects in their films. Sometimes, you see, depending on their inherent creativity, it shows up. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's okay. That depends on the individual person. That is going on. That is what hit Malayalam. Because, Malayalis were right there to receive changes in 70s and 80s. So they wholeheartedly took it. And the awards, I still remember the awards were like front page. Even today it's front page. National awards or state awards were front page, discussion, debate, all these things happen. So there was admiration by the media, by the society. People were willing to take it. Okay, fine, this is the film. Even today, people debate whether this is good or bad. So that's a good thing, which the whole thing, the whole movement, social and artistic movements. Like I also said that 60s and 70s were when a lot of new writers came in. Obi Vijayan's Kasakindi Idihasam was in 69. Before that, when Anand came in 80s, I still remember with excitement. Anand came in 70s. Still remember reading Alkutam with excitement in college, and then Zakaria, Mugundan, all of them. So it was like Malayali was being bombarded with new ideas, new creative, products. So his mind was open. He was not caught on, old specific, formulas. I keep saying one thing that I saw a film in 70s. Sorry to say, Udaya Productions. One of the film, I don't want to name the film. There was this formula films had this thing, romance, rape, villain, all of it, and songs and dance. In this particular film, a deer was raping the heroine. I can't forget that. I was shocked. But no longer in any Malayalam film such perfect things happen. Thanks to all this inputs, all these shocks which Malayalam received, because they rejected completely all of that. Even today, in Buran or whatever, they don't have that formula thing. They were attempting something, but they don't have a formula, definite formula. Each one is trying on their own. Even the worst commercial film, so-called, like Minnal Murali, people were getting excited. I said, what is it? I have seen Superman many times. Many versions have come. It's become a franchise. But then he was trying to experiment for the Malayalis. There was nothing like that earlier. So He experimented. So that is the spirit which I think all this thing. That is why I call it magical. And nobody was particularly behind it. Adur say that we just don't know how it happened. We didn't have the money. We had only the intention to do things. And it so happened that they were at the right time and the right place.
The economic situations in Kerala was also not that good. In spite of that, people, supported or they wanted art to be part of their life. So that is quite,
That is also like when I was in Germany, they say that the joke in West Germany was, why the East Germans and Soviet bloc they excel in sports. They said why? It's because that's the only time they go to get out of their country legally. So the same thing with Malayali. You want to get recognition, social and other thing. This is one of the best surest ways. You work for it, you get it. So that's it's an aspiration of the middle class and others getting into such a.
we have a lot more, but then if we extend, the problem is that people will,
Yeah.
so we'll continue. We'll continue. We have a lot more. And before concluding, in one sentence, if you say like, what is a good film? With that, we can conclude this session, I think.
Good film is not just the story. Yesterday I saw one in OTT. It's a typical gangster thing. But I was so deeply impressed by the way he took the story, his attitude to this film. There's a sequence where, when the gangster or the gunda had killed somebody. There's this dream sequence where he's, he's in his bed. He's dreaming that bed is over water, and the other fellow who he killed is driving that boat, so-called boat, and it's in the deep sea. You don't see the shore or anything. So I said, it's wonderful visualization. So it is not just the story. I'd say it is a totality of creativity which is in it, which makes it a good film. It's not just a story. It's not the camera. It is not the editing. It is not. It is the mind and the visualization of the person and how he connects it. How you take this experience. In Malayalam, the best experience can be done in Elipatayam. How Adu takes that film, just slowly, and it is a perfect up and then down. He takes this thing. So that's the thing. And I used to keep arguing with Adu about that is the best film. He said no. When Thomas Elia came to India, there was a press conference. I asked him, in Delhi, have you seen any good film? He looked at it and said, yes, I've seen a classic Edipatai. So I keep saying, telling Hadur, look, not me. It's Thomas Elia. So is the British Film Institute. So, they gave him the Sutherland Trophy, which is only given to in Asia, Ray and Osu. So, good film is something which touches you, but with all its creative heights, not just one aspect of it, not the color, not the camera, not the editing, but the creative input in it. And how he takes charge of the narrative, which gives maximum impact, and that too aesthetically.
Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful listening to you. We'll continue this chat over a few episodes, I think, because there are lots to cover. Very, very much interesting aspects you have covered in your book. At least we'll touch upon the highlights of it in a few episodes. Thank you so much for your time. We'll continue next
Thank
time.
you.